It's a classic nature of gold and silver to go up at the time of war. However, this time it has turned opposite. We are seeing that there is a global tension throughout the world due to US and Israel attacking Iran. And gold and silver, which are considered to be safe havens during war, they are also being sold in the market by the investors, by the countries, and by the central banks of various nations, due to which and due to various other reasons like dollar getting strengthening or strengthened day by day, and US central bank not cutting the interest rates, and due to reasons, all these reasons, the dollar has strengthened and gold and silver are going down. However, during the last few days, we have seen that gold touched nadir. Nadir means its lowest point of 1.30 or 1.37 lakhs per unit 10 per unit tola or per 10 grams, whereas the price of silver has also gone down 2 lakh rupees per kilogram. However, it is very interesting to note why has this happened this time, that due to war the prices of gold and silver have not shot up, rather have gone down. And in this video we are, which is made for the purpose of education, and if you want to invest in gold or silver, you must take the advice of your SEBI registered investment advisor. However, there are some points which need to be considered, which can provide you a very interesting and very solid clue or indicator to the future of gold and silver. If you want to invest in or purchase gold and silver, or if you want to just invest in the commodities, so you must listen to this video carefully, so that you would be able to just know how in the time of war it happens, and how during this war gold and silver are behaving. The safe haven demand argument has failed this time due to Iran's Strait of Hormuz being the center of oil, and the flow of the outflow of oil, which also is the which is the byproducts of which are silver, I mean the diesel, petrol, LPG, CNG, and various other petroleum products. So these are the byproducts of petroleum, and because that Strait of Hormuz has been obstructed by the Iran. So this time the safe haven demand argument has failed, because the limited supply of oil and the rising prices of this oil and petroleum products, and because the oil or the trading of petroleum products is made in purely in dollar, so the demand of dollar throughout the world has increased. And at the same time the US government, the US central bank has kept its interest high, so the investment of the money by various multinational companies, by trading units, by central banks of the world, and the investors in gold has decreased, and in dollar has increased. So due to this tension in the Middle East, or in middle what we call West Asia, the prices of gold and silver went down. And on the MCX, as you know, as all of you know, on 19th, on the night of 19th or 20th, or just on 19th or 30th, 20th, the gold was below 1.37 lakhs per tola, and the gold was below 2 lakh rupees per kilogram, the silver price. So what here it is very important to note that some of the people who are gripped in the fear of, or in the frustration, or are in severe stress or strain due to their inability to invest in gold at a time when it has touched 1.37 point. So there is no need to worry, because it didn't happen actually. It happened on paper, it happened in MCX, but practically it was not possible for most of the people as far as the tidings, the news gathered by the undersigned. So by you truly. So as far as the information is collected or information is received from various sources, including various newspapers, we learnt that nobody was, or a few, very few people were able to purchase gold at this price, because in the market this was not available. Because whenever the prices go very down, the market closes for some time. It practically, it doesn't happen means on paper, but practically when you go to some jeweler or some shopkeeper, so they have to purchase it from somewhere. So that supply chain was obstructed during that time, due to which nobody was able to purchase gold at 1.37 lakhs per tola. And at the same time, the ETF was also giving some error, due to which the ETF, the people on ETF also can't purchase gold at that price. So if somebody has been able to purchase gold at such a low price, gold or silver, kindly give your information, give your viewpoint in the comment section. However, as far as the information gathered by us, nobody was able to invest in gold on ETF, on online, or in the market, because the margins has to be increased to compensate the loss. So nobody would be able to, nobody wants to suffer loss in such a period, because the gold and silver were fluctuating, and even today they are of volatile nature, they are fluctuating, and the prices are going up and down within a day. So there are some questions which are in the mind of every person. The first, whether you would be able to get this opportunity again, the gold at 1.3 or 1.7, and gold and silver at 2 or less, rupees 2 lakhs per kg or less. Is that possible? Means whether you get that opportunity again, that is the first question. The second question is, for the time being, the market of gold and silver appears to be, just underline the word appears to be stable. Now in future, what would happen to gold and silver? Would it go up or down? That is the $1,000,000 question. And the third question, for the time being, the war seems to be stopped, and there is no compromise between US, Israel, and Iran. So due to that, this if that stops, that Iran factor that has increased the prices of gold and silver the world over. Now, when it stops, when the Iran factor is no more on the plate, so would gold and silver shrink to their previous rate, previous value, previous cost, previous purchasing value? So what would Iran factor, the elimination of Iran factor, or the factor that the tension was due to Iran, and when there is a compromise between USA and Iran, so what would that mean? How would it impact the market, commodity market, that is the market of gold and silver? So these are the question. And the last question is, as some people are saying that gold and silver would bite the dust, that they would touch very lowest figures. So is that possible ever? So these are the 4 questions, and other question regarding whether gold would go up or down. How would the market behave in the days to come? The gold and silver market in the days to come. So these are the questions that we shall try to answer in the and try to answer in this video. So welcome to this video. Sat Sri Akal friends. I am HS Dimple. So according to experts, the first question, the first answer, or the first point, according to the experts, the gold was down due to liquidity driven phase. What does that mean? The liquidity driven phase, what does that mean? When there is extreme uncertainty in the world, in the international affairs, the most liquid assets are sold first. So what are the most liquid assets? They are gold and silver, because it is very difficult to disinvest the money which is invested in, which you have kept in the bank, in the stocks, in the share market, in the mutual funds, or in the property. So the first thing that is very easily available, whether in the form of ETF or in the form of manual or physical gold or silver or any other what we call commodity. So the first time or for your hands go to gold or silver. So because they become, rather than a safe haven, they become source of funds. So you create funds by selling silver or gold. So the investors are selling gold and nobody is purchasing gold, and hence to compensate the marginal needs of the market, because your stocks are going low, so you are suffering the loss. To compensate that loss, you have to arrange the money, and you arrange that money by selling the gold in the market, and hence the price of gold goes down because its demand is getting less and the supply is getting more. The second point is strengthening of gold. Why is the gold strengthening? Because of the oil, the Iran factor, and Iran factor is causing the or creating the oil factor. The oil is getting, it's in the due to inflation or due to the shrinkage of market or due to and the what we call the Strait of Hormuz, because it was stopped, it was obstructed, so oil supply was also suffering, and due to that the rates of oil had gone up, and because the supply, because the oil trading is happening only in, it happens, always happens in dollar, so the demand of dollar has increased and the dollar has strengthened. And how can we in assess the value of gold? There is an interesting point to know, that there is an index called a dollar index, which was created in 1973. So if the dollar is stronger as compared to its 1973 point, or its value 1973, year 1973 value, so if that is stronger than that, so gold index shows value more than 100. If it's less than that, it means its value is going weaker than that in 1973. So if it is 100, it means its value same as it was in 1973. How is that value created, or how is that calculated? So that is based on on the currencies of the values of currencies against dollar, or dollar behavior of dollar against the currencies, six currencies. So which are these currencies? First is euro, the second is Japanese yen, the third is Canadian dollar, the fourth is British pound, the fifth is Swiss franc, and sixth is Swedish krona. So these are the currencies of the world. So if they are going down, it means the dollar is going up, and when dollar goes up, the value of gold would go down. So the dollar and gold behavior, it's inversely proportional to that. When a dollar is up, gold would be down. When the gold is up, the dollar would be down. The third point. The third point is the interest rate by US of of money, of dollar. So if the interest rate is increased, the dollar would go up, because the people's interest in gold would go down. Gold in dollar would go up. In dollar would go up, and in gold it would go down. So accordingly, when the gold becomes a little less appealing, because gold, dollar becoming more appealing, and most of the people starting investing in dollar, the demand of gold goes down, and hence the value of gold, or the its rate, its price goes down. So that is the third point. The fourth point, as we have already discussed, that most of the thumbnails which we see on the social media show that the gold and silver would bite the dust in days to come. So that is just a wrong prediction. Even as you have to, if this video is made for the purpose of education, and we are just analyzing the news. But still, if you have to take any decision, you must take the advice of your SEBI registered investment advisors. But it is not true that the gold and silver would bite the dust. Its values, its rate would go down. It would go drastically, extremely down. gold is not going to be back to 50,000 rupees per tola, and neither silver would do that. So the rate can stabilize, the rates can go down, but they would not go so down. That's what we understand. So the gold and silver are structurally very strong, and in the days to come, if you want to have the long term investment, you can, rather you should go for gold and silver, because due to stress or strain in the international market or international affairs, the gold and silver will show the volatile behavior. So you must make tiny purchases of gold and silver during these days. When the rates of gold and silver dip for a little time, just to keep an eye on just subscribe to our channel, because on this channel, and our channel is also in Punjabi, and that's HS Dimple Speaks, and this channel is HS Dimple Speaks in English. So you subscribe to both channels, and we are giving the information regarding gold and silver regularly and constantly and consistently. So that is very important to keep, not keep all your eggs in one basket. You should invest, you should invest a little of your money in property, somebody in bank, somebody in what we call share market, stock market, mutual funds. So these are the various avenues where you can divide your money. So multi profiling is very important for the investment. The fifth point, the same question: what would happen in future if the war stops? There would be stability. The rate would be around 1.5, and it can increase or decrease according to the events that are happening in the world. If the US increases its or keeps its interest rate same, so gold would go down further. And as there is some other reason that would also be the basic and very important reason for the values of gold and silver to go down, that we are going to discuss later on. However, if the war intensifies, there would be fear, there would be terror, and there would be scarcity of oil, of LPG, and what we call the industries would stop, and work would stop, and there would be scarcity, and there would be problem of even the bread and butter. So the risk factor would be dominant upon the psychology of every person. So at that time, the investment, the gold, silver, these things would be of secondary nature. And because first our instinct would be for survival, because survival is the utmost thing. If you survive, if you are alive only, then the gold and silver would be of any value. So that is the psychology of a client, of the market, of the bazaar, of the trader, of the investment, and of you and me, everybody. Second, the statements of Donald Trump, the statements coming from Iran, and sometimes there is some relief, and sometimes there is wartime solution, wartime problem, and then there is panic, and there is panic selling of gold also. So there are internal contradictions, and there are many paradoxes, and many contradictory news are coming, tidings are coming regarding the war. Tidings means news. So there are different types of tidings which are coming. So the USA has given a 15-point plan to the Iran. Iran has slightly rejected this and set its own terms and conditions for the stoppage of war. So sometimes it appears that the war has gone down, the war is no more here, so the gold would go up. But sometimes it happens to the opposite. So the coming future regarding the international affair, that would set the tone of gold and silver. There are some important points which you must keep in mind. First, no need to panic, because whenever there is a dip in the gold, the market doesn't give you the gold. That is the basic point. So it has to be down for a few days before it would be available in the market. Second point, opportunity of gold dip would come again. So keep an eye on these videos on our channel, because we are giving you constant information regarding the gold and silver rates. Keep an eye. at least there would be an opportunity when the gold would go to that 1.37, 1.35 point. In the long run, gold and silver are going to be up. The third point. The central banks the world over have started bull buying, means they are buying the gold. But now when the war started, some of the countries has sold their gold. Turkey did that in the London market, as per the news of Bloomberg report. Turkey sold gold for silver, for dollar. It purchased, it got dollars. The sharp short-term fluctuations are on the platter. The fourth point, yet, yes, yet sharp short-term fluctuations are still on the platter. The gold would go very down. The gold would go very up. So these short-term sharp fluctuations are on the platter. Very important fifth point. The coming days are neither festival season nor marriage season. There is no seasonal demand. So the months of April, May, June, July, August, these are going to be cool periods for gold and silver. So gold would soften. The value of the price of gold would be down in the days to come. And if the war stops, it would further come down. If US Fed does not cut the interest rate, it would further dip. So these are very important factors to be kept in mind if you want to invest in gold. So these are the points regarding gold and silver. And dear friends, if you want to invest in gold and silver, you must take the advice of your SEBI registered investment advisors. In this video, we have given you information as far as we have collected from various newspapers, magazines, and on the basis of studies or experience. If you have liked this video, kindly like it, give your comment and subscribe to our channel. And we shall time to time give you constant information regarding these points. Our video is also giving information on literature and social aspects. You have watched this video completely. Thank you all and kindly subscribe to the channel. Thank you friends. Sat Sri Akal.